Whosoever holds this hammer, if they be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. In the new Avengers trailer, Thor strikes Stormbreaker directly onto Victor Von Doom's head. He did remember Thanos' advice after all. However, Doom catches the axe with just 2 fingers. Stormbreaker withstood the Infinity Stones and struck Thanos in the chest. But Victor didn't even step back. The question arises, which of Thor's weapons can pierce such a defense? Over the years, the God of Thunder has gone through many hammers, axes, and swords. You could open an entire Asgardian shop. Some are familiar to viewers from the films, others appeared only in the comics. Today we'll break down the best options. We'll start with the standard Mjolnir and end with the cosmic version used by Thor to execute Galactus himself. Mjolnir is Thor's most famous weapon. It was forged from Uru. This rare Asgardian metal holds enchantments very well. At Odin's command, Eitri and the smiths of Nidavellir worked on the hammer. They required the heat of a star. In the new comic book version, the mother of all storms is also trapped inside Mjolnir. It is a living cosmic storm capable of devouring worlds. The forging was accompanied by a powerful explosion that affected all 9 realms. Parts of the hammer even fell to Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs. Mjolnir began crushing everything around it even before meeting Thor. A good way to show the weapon's character in advance. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the first known owner of the hammer was Hela. Together with Odin, she conquered the 9 realms. Later, Odin gave up conquests, but Hela continued her former path. For this, she was sent to prison. Then Mjolnir went to Thor. The hammer would return to its master's hand. With it, Thor flies, summons lightning, and defends against attacks. An important trait of Mjolnir is Odin's enchantment. Only the worthy can lift it. Muscle size doesn't matter here at all. Hulk once tested this personally and failed the exam. Mjolnir was considered almost invulnerable, but Hela caught it with one hand and crushed it. This showed the viewer immediately that Thor had met an enemy who could not be taken down with a simple blow. In the comics, the hammer is capable of much more. It opens gateways between worlds, absorbs energy, and returns it to the enemy. It also creates protective barriers and helps transmute matter. Previously, Mjolnir even transported Thor through time. Later, Immortus removed this function so the Avengers wouldn't jump between eras. Once Thor used the hammer to bring back to life a warrior who died because of him. But that was a rare episode. Mjolnir has no undo death button. Although Marvel could certainly use one. When Hela destroyed Mjolnir, Thor set off to Nidavellir for a new weapon. There he found Eitri, the only dwarf to survive Thanos' Vorjais visit. The Titan forced the smiths to forge the Infinity Gauntlet. Then he killed almost all the dwarves and encased Eitri's hands in Uru. Thor started the forge up again. Thus, Stormbreaker was created.
A king's weapon, intended to be the best in Asgard. Theoretically, it can summon the Bifrost.
It was prepared specifically against Thanos. Forging it again required Uru and the heat of a dying star. The axe was left without a handle, and Groot stepped in to help. He joined the white-hot parts by hand, then cut a branch from his own body. Thus, Stormbreaker got a handle of living wood, and Asgardian smithing became eco-friendly. Stormbreaker opens the Bifrost and transports heroes between worlds. The axe returns to Thor. It helps him fly and channels his lightning energy. We saw Stormbreaker's greatest strike in Infinity War. Thor threw the axe directly at Thanos. In response, the Titan fired a beam from the gauntlet, which already held all 6 stones' eyes. Stormbreaker tore through the stream of energy and buried itself in Thanos' chest. A strike to the head would have ended the war much sooner. However, Thor decided to give a dramatic speech and draw out the moment of revenge. Thanos pointed out his mistake and snapped his fingers. The most expensive pause before a final strike in cinema history. The pieces of Mjolnir were kept in New Asgard. A few years later, they chose Jane Foster Axter. The reason wasn't just her personality. Thor had once asked the hammer to always protect Jane. Mjolnir remembered this command and returned when she fell seriously ill. The pieces joined, and Jane became the mighty Thor. She gained armor, flight, lightning, and the skills of an Asgardian warrior. Her illness retreated during the transformation, but every new outing as Thor hindered her treatment and drained her body. However, the cracks gave the hammer a new move. Mjolnir could shatter into dozens of pieces, hit multiple targets, and then reassemble. Mjolnir survived and gained a new attack. When Jane perished, Mjolnir returned to Thor once again. This story proved that a damaged hammer is sometimes more dangerous than a flawless weapon. Long before Mjolnir, a young Thor carried the battle axe Jarnbjorn. It previously belonged to Runa, one of the first Valkyries Ulvikene. Then the axe was kept in the Asgardian armory until Thor claimed it. Jarnbjorn didn't summon lightning or test its wielder for worthiness. It was a massive battle axe in the hands of a young god who preferred to strike first and ask questions later. Apocalypse changed everything. His armor was created using celestial technology, so normal attacks did no harm. Thor anointed Jarnbjorn with his own blood. Thus, the axe gained the ability to pierce celestial armor. Centuries later, it was stolen by the Apocalypse twins to kill one of the cosmic titans. Soon, Exeter arrived on Earth. This celestial intended to destroy the world. Thor reclaimed Jarnbjorn and struck Exeter in the neck. The strike breached the armor, and Exeter suffered a mortal wound. He didn't die immediately, but that wound finished him off. Mjolnir tests the wielder's worthiness, while Jarnbjorn tests the quality of enemy armor. This version is often called the symbiote Mjolnir. However, Thor did not get a separate hammer. The story began with Darkoth, who became the host for a young symbiote. It was the spawn of Bedlam, a future version of Eddie Brock. The symbiote used materials from Darkoth's body to create Helnir, a dark copy of Mjolnir ab Mjolnir. Helnir did not unleash lightning, but hellfire, Upon the clash of the two hammers, Mjolnir cracked and Odin's blood began to flow from them. And no, he wasn't having those days. His spirit was simply inside the weapon. A character came to help whom Thor mistook for Eddie Brock. The symbiote covered Thor and Mjolnir in living matter. Thus appeared the god in black, also called Thornome. The symbiote didn't gain the hammer, it only strengthened the blows for a while. The enemy symbiote retreated and exited the dark god. Later, Thor used the God Blast and destroyed Helnir. This option was spectacular, but not long-lasting. Thor never actually received a new weapon. Once, Thor even used an ancient sword of Odin. It was considered one of Asgard's most dangerous weapons. Prophecy stated it could destroy all worlds. Odin forged the sword from the enchanted Nibelung ring and went against the Celestials with it. But this sword did not help. The cosmic giants destroyed it. Later, another of Odin's swords appeared, named Ragnarok. Odin passed it to Thor for the battle with the serpent, his brother. Only this sword could kill him. Thor pierced the serpent and won, but sustained mortal wounds himself. When the War of the Realms ended, Thor took the throne of Asgard and received the All-Father's energy. Soon, a barely alive Galactus crashed into Asgard. He warned of the approaching Black Winter, an entity that devoured entire worlds. Galactus needed an assistant, so he turned Thor into his herald and gave him a portion of cosmic energy. Mjolnir changed as well. It glowed blue and became a conduit for several types of energy. Thor combined the gift of the God of Thunder, the energy of the All-Father, and the power of Galactus. Soon the truth was revealed. Galactus had hidden much. He was once a herald of the Black Winter. Now the Devourer was trying to avoid punishment. Furthermore, he had taken the energy of 5 special worlds to prepare for the battle. One world died before its inhabitants could be saved. Thor didn't like this, and he decided to act. He took that energy from Galactus and unleashed a torrent of lightning upon him. Then Mjolnir pierced the chest of the World Eater. Thor charged Galactus with all the energy he had collected. His remains turned into a huge cosmic bomb. The explosion destroyed the Black Winter. Only an empty suit of armor remained of Galactus. Thor turned the huge helmet into the entrance to his throne room. This is no longer a trophy, but a ready-made interior solution. The design of Asgard reached a new level. It is important to clarify that it wasn't just an upgraded hammer that killed Galactus. Mjolnir conducted several types of energy at once. It combined the power of Thor, the energy of the All-Father, and Galactus. The Cosmic Mjolnir is not a separate weapon. It is a regular hammer charged to the limit. Based on the demonstrated capabilities, this is the most destructive version of Mjolnir. Among the versions of the hammer, the cosmic variant takes first place. Among rare swords, Odin's sword, capable of destroying the universe, stands next to it. Stormbreaker nearly killed Thanos. Jarnbjorn pierced the armor of a celestial. However, Thor's most important weapon remains his ordinary Mjolnir. The reason isn't the number of destroyed worlds, and this hammer reveals the character of the one who holds it. Now let's return to Dr. Doom. He stopped the Stormbreaker with 2 fingers, but he only stopped the axe, not Thor himself. The God of Thunder has lost his weapon, his throne, his family, and even his life, and every time he returned to the fight. That is why the main question of Doomsday is not this. Which hammer will Thor choose? The question is different. What will Doom have to hold back when Thor rises again? Thanks for watching, and see you next time, friends.